Vincentians really through the writings of St. Vincent de Paul. When I had been doing my undergraduate at the University of Kansas, I ran into, at one point, vocation minister for the Vincentians, Chris Robinson, who came to do a retreat for a choir. And there was something different about him, and he said something about St. Vincent de Paul, and I didn't know anything about St. Vincent de Paul. And so I thought I'll do some research. And so I looked up his writings and read through things. I was really impressed with his dignity of the poor that he spoke about, recognizing Christ in others, but also how he approached ministry and how he treated people. And so his writings really inspired me then to continue to discern about being a Vincentian and to see, could I do that? And a lot of what he said resonated with what I was doing as a college student, volunteering with the soup kitchen, but also visiting elderly who were left alone in homes, and some other ministries that I did. And I really liked how he had to say that these people had dignity and that they had worth. And that really resonated with me. So that was really how I got involved with the Vincentians, was through the writings of St. Vincent de Paul. What reminds me of being a Vincentian, or inspires me in some ways, is a couple stories. One, when I was a seminarian, I worked at St. John the Baptist Parish in Brooklyn, New York, with the Vincentians there. And one of my ministries was to go and visit people who were sick or homebound. And a lot of the people were in these projects just right across the street or in that area. And I would go to visit them, but it wasn't always so safe to go alone, especially as a person who's not from that neighborhood. And so the older women in the parish would take me to go visit these people who were homebound or sick in the projects. And I was touched by their ministry of visiting others and how they really cared for doing great prayer and presence with them and being with those who were sick and suffering. And it really inspired me to be a better Vincentian and to listen better, but also to be present to people and pray with them. Another one was when I was pastor of 2 parishes in Southwest Missouri, that there was a family there that they didn't have much, but they were always present at church. They were active in the church and everything that they did. And they had a simple approach towards how they applied their faith. And it reminded me a lot of how Vincent does that in his preaching, but in his ministerial style as well. And it really inspired me to be a better Vincentian and to go out and, I guess, minister to others in a similar fashion. For someone discerning about being a Vincentian priest or brother, or a priest and brother in general, I would first just encourage them to really listen to their heart and to see how the Spirit is really inviting them to use what they've been given, especially the gifts that God has given them, and to see how they can imagine that being put into service. So whatever that gift may be, if it would be preaching, or if they're a great nurse or a doctor, or if they're a great teacher, or if they're a good musician, whatever they do, how can they imagine that being put into service as well, in doing ministry in the church and reaching out to others? And then as Vincentians, I think we utilize those gifts then in our ministry and reaching out and doing our ministry with others. And I think that's what really makes the difference for me, is listening and then identifying those gifts and imagining oneself doing this ministry as well.